Good morning, everybody, and happy Saturday. My name's Michelle. I'm with Olive and 2U Studios. I'm typically here about every Saturday morning at 9:30 Eastern Time to tell you what's going on with knit-alongs, what's new in the shop, and what's happening here at Olive and 2U Studios, and the things that I'm working on and doing as well. I see that some of our yarny are showing up live today, but if you happen to be watching after the fact, we want to make sure that you're welcomed as well. If you haven't already done so, I invite you to go ahead and subscribe to the channel. Be sure to hit the thumbs up and the notification bell. That lets me and YouTube know that you like this content and you want to see more of it. I hope everybody had a fantastic Thanksgiving. I know in our Yarny Use Facebook group, there's been some chatter about what everybody was doing for Thanksgiving. Some of us had very quiet, sedate holidays. Jem and I went out to a lovely, quiet country inn for Thanksgiving lunch. And I know some of you were with great gobs of family and friends, and I hope everybody had a wonderful time. I also know that some of you are still with family and friends and still have travel ahead of you, or maybe you have family and friends staying with you. So whatever you did, I hope that it soothed your heart, that you had a thankful time full of gratitude and renewing those loving relationships. And if you were home alone, you can still do that on your own. So I hope whatever you did was wonderful for you. Ours was quiet and the weather wasn't too bad. It was in the lower 40s. So that almost feels like a heat wave here in Maine now. We know that the heavier winter is coming. In fact, next week on Tuesday, well, I say next week, this coming week on Tuesday, one of the predictions is for -3 degrees Fahrenheit. So sub-zero temperatures are potentially on the way. And we've been reading that this winter is expected to be pretty heavy. Of course, our first winter in Maine is going to be more snow and heavier and colder than they've seen in quite a few years. So that's about the way it happens. But you know what? I'm ready for it. I've got hand knits. I also wear sweaters that are not hand knit because I can't knit fast enough to keep beefing up my wardrobe. But we're going to talk about that in a few minutes because I've got a new sweater that I'm eyeing, and I actually had the yarn delivered this week. And so we're going to talk about what that sweater is going to be in just a few minutes. Tish says it's time to get out those long johns. Yeah, well, I've already been wearing them. I wear merino leggings and a merino undershirt. In fact, you can see it right there under most everything. So I like to stay warm and cozy. And trust me, I'm trying to figure out all the ways to stay warm and cozy. It's ironic because this morning I'm not drinking a hot cup of tea, but I drink more tea now probably than ever before because sometimes I'm finding that I drink tea just to get warm, not necessarily because I'm thirsty. So it's a good thing I like hot drinks, right? I didn't used to like hot drinks when I was younger, but now I do. So I can't wait to see the snow. Again, it is going to snow in the next couple of days, and it'll be our third or fourth snow. And Lori Ann says it's going to be beautiful there and all that cold and snow. I think so. I have to admit, I get very excited when I know that snow is coming, and it is absolutely gorgeous. I told my husband the other day we were driving somewhere, and rural Maine is very much like any other rural community. You have homes along the entire continuum of, you've got like multi-million-dollar homes, you've got really small cabins and all that sort of thing. And I said, you know what, when the snow comes and it covers the land and it covers the buildings, everything is just beautiful and soft and gorgeous and welcoming. The other thing that I noticed is that no matter what a home looks like on the outside, when it is kind of at that space in the evening where it's just before dusk, it's not the gloaming. That's my favorite time of day, the gloaming when the sun is kind of golden, but when it's overcast and it's just before dusk, and no matter what the house looks like on the outside, when you see those glowing golden lights inside and oftentimes smoke puffing out of the chimney, it just feels so warm and welcoming and cozy. So I love that so much. Unfortunately, we don't have fire here in the house exactly. We've got we use our hurricane lamps or oil lamps, you call them, quite a bit. And we actually got one that's very interesting. It has a 4-inch wide wick, so it looks like a mini little fireplace. So we do use those for fire, but we don't have a big fireplace yet. We're still in the middle of contemplating about that. But anyway, I'm very excited about the snow. It is always beautiful. Sadie's starting to get a little more used to it. Sadie, our doggie, is starting to get a little more used to it. And as I tell everybody, I realize that when I talk about the snow and the winter and I sound excited, I know that people are often, yeah, we'll see what you're feeling like next year. So I am aware of that. In fact, at the inn that we had Thanksgiving at, the proprietor of the inn found out that we had just moved here. Well, let's face it, I told him. But he said, "Oh, so you're like just you're getting ready to go back to Florida for the winter?" And I said, "No, we're here full time." He's like, "Oh, so you're going to winter here?" Yes, we are. So anyway, it's interesting to see people's reactions to that, but we'll see what happens. I'm open. I know that it's going to be definitely different than Florida. In fact, Thanksgiving was very different because we went out, and going to a small, quiet country inn was very different than going out in the Orlando area. So anyway, lots of contrasts happening here, but I love it. One thing, though, stays the same, and that is the support of the Yarny Use and your support of our small business. And I want to start this morning by saying thank you so very much for your support. I've said this multiple times and many times just over the last few days, but it is completely and utterly true. It is your support. It's your purchases. It's your support of what we do here that allows us to continue doing what we do. It allows us to keep going with the podcast. It allows us to bring you beautiful hand-dyed yarn to the shop, and gorgeous notions and knit-alongs and retreats and trips to Scotland and all of the things that we do. Every purchase that you make helps to fuel that forward progress. We've been here over 8 years now. It'll be 9 years coming up next year, which is really hard to believe, but it's been a while. And through all of that, your consistent support has made all the difference. And so one of the things that we really wanted to do this Thanksgiving weekend through Black Friday and Small Business Saturday and Thanksgiving and all that was give you some opportunities for some deals, and you've taken advantage of them. So thank you so much for that. And today is the last day of deals, and it is to celebrate Small Business Saturday. And I see that some of you are already taking advantage of that. So for today only, until midnight tonight, every $50 that you spend in the shop, that's $50 in product before shipping and before taxes. So every $50 that you spend will get you a $10 e-gift card emailed out to you early this week. And I'll put the amounts together. So for example, if you spend $150 in the shop today, you'll get an e-gift card for $30 back. If you spend $200 in the shop, you're going to get an e-gift card for, let's see, can I do math? $40 back. So that's the way it's going to work. And I'll do one gift card with your total amount on it, depending on what you spend. So you can do it in one order. You can do it in multiple orders today, however you need to do it. Every $50 gets you a value of $10 on an e-gift card back to you. And those will be emailed to you at the same email address that you put on your order. And I'll get those emailed out to you early this next week. It won't happen this weekend. It'll be early next week. I'll get those emailed out to you. So thank you so much. And then you can turn right around and use that gift card whenever you want. You can use it yourself. You can give it to a friend, whatever you like to do with that. Hey, if you've got a yarny friend, there is a Christmas gift right there already. You can just forward the email to them and that will be their Christmas gift. So that's what's happening today for Small Business Saturday. And again, I want to thank you so much for your support. It's, there've been changes across the years, lots of changes. We opened the Knit Nook at Little Thimble. We closed the Knit Nook at Little Thimble. We actually opened that in the middle of the pandemic, as some of you may recall. Then we opened up Needleworks. Needleworks is still going strong. Monica is there, fulfilling orders and doing that sort of thing. I moved to Maine. Lots of transitions, lots of changes, because that's just life. But you have remained consistent through all of that. And I am so grateful. And I'm so grateful for you. Some of you call me, some of you text me, email me, and I'm always so, so happy for those interactions. So thank you for that. You uplift me more than you know. Your support uplifts me more than you know. In fact, I'm getting a little of that right now. Kim says the Bain box is beautiful with great goodies. I'm so glad. So our Northwoods Harbor box did in fact go out this past week. There is beautiful yarn in it and some goodies. This next weekend is when I do believe we're going to have Kim Perry, who is the maker behind Perry Home Naturals, who made some of the goodies in that Northwoods Harbor box, is going to be joining me here on the podcast next week. So you'll get to meet her and learn a little bit about Perry Home Naturals. So I'm very excited about that. Oh, good. I'm getting lots of comments here. I'm so glad. Sherry and Terry, absolutely. Again, all the time, I find myself saying it, hit those yarn colorways completely out of the park. They are beautiful. Don't forget, one of the wonderful things about that box, the Northwoods Harbor box, is that M&M So Charming, that's Mary and Marjorie. Actually, Marjorie designed the clam digger hat. And so you get that pattern for free if you purchase that Northwoods Harbor box. If you scan the QR code on your box insert, it will take you to a page that will tell you a little bit more about the goodies in the box. And it will also give you the information on how to collect that pattern. The yarn that you received was dyed specifically for that pattern. And little hint to you, if you love that clam digger hat, and I know you will, there's also a clam digger cowl that matches it, and you can pick up that pattern at the same time that you get your free clam digger hat pattern over on the M&M So Charming website. So I'll make sure for others who didn't get the Northwoods Harbor box that I include that link down below in the show notes today so you can take a look at that. It's a beautiful pattern, kind of reminiscent of the coast of Maine and what goes on here. We kind of wanted to do this split sort of between, you've got the forest, the wood of Maine, and then you've got the harbor. So the clam digger hat helps to speak to the harbor. And then inside you've got those beautiful goodies that remind you of the forest, and then that great room spray that also reminds you of the coast. So there's beautiful things in the Northwoods Harbor box, and I'm so happy that you all are enjoying that. I can't wait to see your clam digger hats all knit up. So you'll have to be sure and share those in the Yarny Use Facebook group. And if you're not part of the Yarny Use Facebook group, now is a great time to join. There's lots of support in there. No judgment, no politics, no drama. Great place to join and show all of your goodies. Kim says that she's loving both of those patterns. So I'm really glad to hear that. And if you pick up the cow pattern at the same time, then you'll have a nice matching set. And then you've got it. You can make one for yourself. Christmas gifts, Hanukkah gifts, always a good idea. Quick patterns are so good for this time of year to get that gift knitting underway and done. So I'm glad to hear that. Something else that shipped was our 8 Nights of Hanukkah box. So if you ordered that, that is on its way to you. And it's pretty amazing as well, if I do say. And then the 12 Days of Christmas boxes will be going out early this week. And those are all very, very exciting. Now, remember, when we start doing the openings of those, we'll do videos for every day of Hanukkah and Christmas to do the unwrappings for the goodies inside of those boxes. That's when the early bird pricing happens for the brand new boxes for 2026. Yes, we already get a head jump. We already make sure that you have the theme so you know what's happening for those, and all of that will be ready. So be ready, because you get a deal when you order early. So I'm going to really encourage you to do that. And then I've got something else up my sleeve for Christmas next year, and I'm trying to decide if I want to share it in advance or if I want to hold on and share that closer to Christmas next year. I don't know. I'd love to hear in the comments below what you think. I'm trying to decide if it's something you'll be able to order early or if I want to make it available a little closer to Christmas. I'm on the fence. Making these decisions is really difficult sometimes as a small business owner. You gonna play the violin for me? But I'm really excited about it. It was an idea that I had that just like hit my brain like a thunderbolt one afternoon. And I did some research and I was like, oh, yeah, we're going to do that. We're definitely going to do that. And let me just say, I think some of you Anglophiles are going to like it. I'm not going to share it right now. I might share it later. I probably will share it earlier than next Christmas, but not right now. Not quite ready right now. But I hear what you're saying, and I'll work on it. I did give you a hint. If you're an Anglophile, if you love our Scotland sort of focus sometimes and that sort of thing, I think that you will really enjoy it. So I'll probably share it early. Y'all know it's hard for me to keep secrets. Very hard for me to keep secrets, but it's going to be really cool. Speaking of Anglophiles, I don't have any updates yet about Shetland because my contact at CIE was off for the holiday, and she said that they were working on it in the UK office. So I think this week I'll know more about Shetland. I cannot wait to get those details to you. Number one, I can't wait to find out if it's 100% that we can go when we kind of wanted to go next year. And number two, I just want to get the details to you as quickly as possible, because if in fact we are going to go to Scotland next year and to Shetland, then I want to make sure that you have all those details as quickly as possible so you can get your vacation requested or take care of all the details that you need to take care of to make sure that happens. Hi, Renee. Yes, Scotland made her perk up. Absolutely. So as of now, we are in the process of trying to work out if we can. We really want to go to Shetland, and we're working on that for next year. So as I mentioned, the last couple times I've been on camera with you all, and the list is growing. I have quite the waiting list now for Shetland. So if you think you're at all interested in going, please email me, Michelle@oliveandtoyou.com. My email address is down below in the show notes this morning. You can email me and just say, yes, please put me on the list for Shetland. If you're not on the list and our trip fills up, then we're going to have to go through the list in order in which I received that. So in other words, you're sort of, what am I trying to say? Your sort of reservation without a deposit yet. We're not taking deposits yet. I want to know all the details before we start taking deposits. Michelle says she needs luggage for Christmas this year to go to Shetland. Absolutely. That is a great idea, actually. So, but anyway, so if you're an Anglophile, then I think you might like something else that I have up my sleeve for Christmas next year. It's a smaller thing, and it's not part of the box, but it's a smaller sort of adjunct, you might say, that I think would be a lot of fun. But until then, we've got to keep looking at pretty new yarn, because you got to keep stocking your stash. As 2025 is getting ready to come to a close, can you believe that? I am just utterly shocked that December is next week. I cannot believe that we are already going to be into December, but we are. Our November 2025 Cancer Awareness colorways have dropped, and they are stunning. Now, there were several cancers this month. So what they did is they made this beautiful hank called, and I always have to double look. I do learn the colorway names. It just takes me a little bit. Breathe Hope Excel Cure. And it is gorgeous. If you're a purple fan, and we've got lots of purple fans, this would make some pretty socks. Look how pretty that is. You've got those purples, and they range from kind of almost a cobalty blue purple to a true purple to kind of a plummy purple into, that looks like good ink, pen purple to kind of this pinky purple. You have a little bit of that, and then some beautiful black in there to highlight it. So Breathe Hope XL Cure is this colorway. And then because there were so many, they decided, and it was extra labor, but Sherry and Terry wanted to do it. they created this beautiful micro mini set. And I'm going to go through those names because I really don't have all of these memorized yet. And they're really rather clever names. So we have, I'm going to show these to you while I name them. Ingest Hope, that's for stomach cancer. Breathe Hope, that's for lung cancer. Neuroendocrine cancer with the E and D as in cancer. And then you have Pancreate, a cure, with create all capitalized for pancreatic cancer. And Caregivers Need Love Too, because caregivers is also a highlight for November. So these are these beautiful colorways. You got a little bit of a glare there, but you'll be able to see them really well on the listing on the website. And they are gorgeous. They're absolutely beautiful. So if you're interested, I told you multiple times, I've mentioned that Nancy Victorino is the author of the Recipe for Hope pattern that's coming out to sort of take advantage of the 2025 Cancer Awareness Series colorways. So you don't want to miss out on these. You'll have multiple ways to use these colorways in your Recipe for Hope. Or even if you're not interested in doing that pattern, there's so many different ways to use these colorways. In fact, I saw that Karen Sobel, I believe it was, has gone back in her stash and grabbed some of the 2025 Cancer Awareness Series colorways to use for Knitmas coming up. Knitmas is happening over at Nomadic Knits in their group, and do some stash diving and grab your kit, or you can always pick out new colors from the shop for that as well. Of course, Becky's selling beautiful kits also. So but you've got some great choices. And the Cancer Awareness Series colorways, whether you do it in the Recipe for Hope or in another pattern of your choice, really offers a way to lend real meaning and depth of meaning to a pattern that you might do, especially if your life or the life of a loved one has been touched by cancer, any of these cancers at all. So these are available right now in fingering and DK weight, including the micro mini set. You have a choice of fingering or DK weight, so you've got lots of possibilities there. I think these are going to go really, really quickly, so I recommend you snag them, and keep in mind, add a couple other things. If you get both of these, you're going to be up over your $50 limit, and you'll get that $10 e-gift card. It's a great way to spend those dollars to get that e-gift card back to you. Beautiful, beautiful cancer colorways. Keep in mind, down below, I have linked here on YouTube some of the some of the other months cancer colorways, I guess I should say, for other months where we still have some stock in the shop. You can find those right down below, and it's a great time to go ahead and stock your stash with those colors, especially if they were colors that you didn't pick up sort of the first time around. We're going to work on potentially giving you a way to pick up colors that you may have missed if we sold out of those. But if they're still in the shop, now's the time to grab them. And some of those are down below. I've also linked down below today in the show notes the link to the shop section that has the November cancer colorways there. So you want to go ahead and grab those right now. And it's Small Business Saturday. Don't wait till tomorrow. Do it today so you can get your e-gift card back as a way to say thank you. So beautiful colors happening in the shop. And speaking of beautiful colors, many of you chose great kits for your Senkaku knit along. We are in the final countdown for that knit along. There's 1 week left. The Senkaku knit along ends next Saturday. Keep posting your progress pictures on the thread. Every single picture that you post is sort of an entry, and somebody's going to win a $75 gift card for their Senkaku participation. You don't have to have a finished object as long as you start, because I'm not into being a hypocrite, and I don't always have finished objects really quickly. So we don't require that for our knit-alongs. We just require that you use Olive and 2U Studios yarn, and then you're good to go. So it's still not too late. If you want to get one cast on for the Senkaku knit along, you absolutely can. This is a fantastic pattern for all the reasons I have previously mentioned. It's kind of a cross between a shawl and a cowl. And I like it because it does join in the round eventually, so it doesn't fall off your shoulders. I have narrow shoulders and things tend to slide off, but this won't do that. And so it's a great kind of knit for either yourself or a friend. And it's one of those things that I like to say gives you a lot of bang for your buck visually for not a lot of effort because it's mosaic knitting. So it's really easy. And if you've never done mosaic knitting, it gives you a chance to sort of put that technique in your toolbox. So if you haven't yet done it, I recommend you do this. The link is down below in the show notes to the Sankaku pattern. So you can pick that up right on Ravelry. So keep posting your pictures. We love to see that. Now, interestingly enough, in the whip section today, two things to mention before we dive into that. First is, I don't think I have any Sankaku whips because everybody like posted theirs and I didn't see any new ones posted this week. The other thing to mention is just before I went live, I noticed that not all of the slides that I tried to load in the system loaded. And you know, I can't always pick up every single picture that people show, but I try to highlight some of the really cool ones. So let's go ahead and roll with the whip section and see what you guys have been working on. All right, let's take a look here. Mary St. John Nielsen, she just got back from a European vacation, some of her travel knitting. So she was part of our Beekeepers Quilt Club a couple years ago, and she had some yarn left from that. So that's the yarn that she used for that subscription. It was the Free for All Cal, and I really like the colors that she selected for that. I thought it looked really, really good. Keep in mind the links to these patterns are down below in the show notes. So if you like any of them, it's a great place to grab them. I laughed out loud when I saw Valera's post here and I loved it. Still not a sock. So if you don't know Valera is a very prolific sock knitter. In fact, socks is almost exclusively what she knits to my knowledge, but she hopped on the Beautifully Basic Tee knit along a while back. And when she did, she said, well, we'll see how long it takes for this to turn into a sock. So that's where her comment comes from. Still not a sock. And I am cheering her on from afar. I love it so much. Well done, Valera. Next up, Cindy Harrison. So she did a little backtracking, but she's going again on her Beautifully Basic Tee. So she's making some progress there. Next up, Faith Cooper. So she is most often a crocheter, but she does do a little bit of knitting. And she's doing the Adriana sweater by Knitting with Chopsticks. She's using our Tolkien DK plus mohair, which is a really interesting fiber combination. I love that. She's making slow but steady progress. And this is her first knitted garment. So I'm so impressed, Faith, that you have sort of ventured outside of your comfort zone with that. It looks really good. Julie Garland, she's working on some Christmas knitting. Raise your hand if you're still Christmas knitting. You've got plenty of time, plenty of time. But she's knitting a scarf for her grandson. She says she tinked parts of it so many times, but she's thinking she's back on track. And this is actually double knitting. So that's a new technique, I think, for Julie and for some of you as well. And again, well done on stepping outside of your comfort zone to do that. I think it's looking great. Martha Bicknell, she's also doing some knitting here for grandchildren. This is Creepers All Around by Tracy McDowell. And the pattern's on Ravelry. Again, the link is down below in the show notes. I think she was going to be giving that to her grandson during Thanksgiving. So she was headed over to a certain area for Thanksgiving and full of Thanksgiving joy. So that was beautiful, Martha. I'd love to hear how he received it. I hope that went really well for you. Serena, this is the cutest little pattern. I have to say, I love this. She says a whimsical knit that's been on her list for a while. It's called Santa's Laundry Line, I think it is. It's by Eleanor von Kesselmuir. And I love this so much. Basically, it's all Santa's clothes as though it were hanging on a laundry line. And like a clothesline, or maybe that's what it was, Sandra's laundry clothesline or something. But the link is down below in the show notes. And I just think this is adorable. And you're totally right, Serena. So incredibly whimsical. Next up, Karen Sobel making progress on her Stephen West 2025 mystery knit along. And I'm trying to think, was it a musicale? Is that how it was pronounced? But the link is down below in that. And I love in this particular pattern how these motifs are like completely different. You've got kind of these wavy sections, and then you've got kind of these diamond sections. Leave it to Stephen West to put together completely different motifs. So much fun. It looks good. And I love your color selection there. Next up, Becky Brown. So she finished her second Sanker hat. And so her first one was black and white, and she gave that one to her sister, Katie. Now, I did not find on Ravelry a Sanker hat pattern, but there are multiple Sanker patterns on Ravelry, including one by the Scottish ladies. So you can go there to Ravelry using the link that I've provided down below, and you'll be able to learn a little bit more about sort of the Sanker heritage knitting. And you can see multiple interpretations of that. But well done, Becky. It is a very tightly sort of knit color work pattern, very iconic of that area of Scotland, speaking of Anglophiles. And I love it so much. Speaking of her sister Katie as well, if I can get my words out, she said she has some FOs, cute little mice. She says hers look as big as rats. They're hanging out with their bird friends pillow. And I seem to remember a comment on this that Mary Nielsen said, yeah, and that pillow is begging for some slow stitching or some embroidery. And I think she's right. Look at those adorable little mice. I could not find that pattern. However, I couldn't find it on Ravelry. I wasn't sure of the name of it. So if Katie has a pattern and if it's on Ravelry, maybe she'll share that in the Yarny Use. And last but not least, we have Jamie Laurent, Rustic Red One Hat by Jessica Spiegel. Looks so good and so perfect for this time of year, right? Completely perfect for this time of year as we get ready for Christmas and all the holidays. Just amazing. So I'm going to show you what I've been working on. One is not so exciting, and the other thing is kind of exciting, I thought. And then the other one is kind of just an update on progress. So my beautifully basic tee, yes, yet another one, in buttered toffee. Y'all know I fell for this colorway when I first saw it. I'm just about to the ribbing. I just need to measure it. I suspect I might be there. And then I can do the ribbing and finish up the sleeves and get this on. I'm trying to make this one a little bigger so it'll fit nicely over my merino undershirt, because let's face it, that's in Rawlings. That is not going to be thick enough to wear by itself here in Maine. So I'm going to have to figure something out with some layers, or maybe that could be my undershirt under another sweater. I'll figure it out because I love that colorway so incredibly much. So my little update isn't much of an update. You might remember I was busily cutting out leaves to do either a garland or a wreath. And I used some of my tartan that I picked up during our trip in Scotland. Can't wait to get this sort of more on the road. My cream colored wool felt just came in yesterday. So now I plan on working on this weekend. I was kind of on hold because I had ordered some cream color wool felt because I thought that would kind of add a little brightness to my color collection. And I think it was Katie that mentioned that she had worked on one of these, and she gave me a picture of it, and it was beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. So I still am on the fence whether I'm going to do a garland or a wreath. I might do both. I might even have enough to do both once I finish all my cutouts, especially when I add the cream felt. But I'm really excited about this, especially my little addition of the wool tartan tweed bits. I think that's going to make it really extra special. So the other thing that I did this week, and I posted in the Yarny Use, because my hands have a tendency to stay really cold, so much so that my fingers end up being very purple. They're purple here right now. And my hands are often cold. I'm very fortunate that I have a steering wheel warmer and warm, hot, heated seats in my car. But I don't have a steering wheel warmer at home because I'm not driving my car at home. So my hands stay cold. So I made myself a hand warmer, and I can just alternate it between one hand to the other. And I posted this in the Yarny Use. It's really silly, simple little pattern. And I just took some of that tartan fabric, the wool fabric. I had an Olive and 2U leather label here. So I stitched the logo label onto this. I didn't want it centered. I wanted it down in this area of the square of the little warmer. I stitched that on, and I stitched myself a little pouch, and then I filled it with flaxseed, golden flaxseed, whole flaxseed that I mixed with a little bit of peppermint essential oil. And then I finished hand stitching. I didn't do such a bang up job on the hand stitching though. I had to learn a little something on that. It's been a while since I've done it, but it's not terrible. It's serviceable. And then, yeah, smells like peppermint, which is energizing. Who doesn't like a little peppermint, especially this time of year? And you can smell it from afar, not a lot, but you put it in the microwave with a cup of water. If you have any of these items like this that you put in the microwave, typically it's a good idea to put a cup of water in with them. Otherwise they can burn, and you never want to put anything in the microwave except all natural materials. And I take no responsibility for any of this. This is wool. Cotton will also work in there. You don't want to do anything that has any nylon in it. You don't want to do anything that has any polyester or anything like that. You'll have a huge mess on your hands and a stinky burn. But I put this in the microwave for about 60 to 90 seconds with a cup of water. It heats up the flax, and then I can just hold it in my hand and flip it around, and it makes my hands toasty. So that was my other little make that I was working on. And then last week, you may remember, I recorded the podcast because I headed out and went to our church where several ladies were gathered, and we worked on our sewing machines to make, and there's so many names for them, draft dodgers or door snakes, the long items that you put down at the threshold of your door to prevent drafts coming in. So we sat there and made several of those to donate to folks who might need help trying to keep their heating bills down and keeping their houses warm and cozy like we were talking about. So I think we're going to gather in a couple more weeks and do a little more of that draft dodger stitching. I took my little featherweight, my little Singer featherweight, and there was one other lady there that had a featherweight. So we had a featherweight chat, and it stitched just like a champ. It was absolutely wonderful. We had a really good time doing that. So I've been doing all kinds of crafty things, but I am super excited because one of the shipments that I got this week was the colorway that Sherry and Terry dyed up, pecan or pecan. You might remember this beautiful, cool brown. And when I saw that colorway, it was a lot like buttered toffee. When I saw it, I was completely enamored and was like, okay, I have to do a project in that colorway. So I ordered a bunch of this. In fact, I ordered one hank in Homer and then a hank in Bronte, because I also found a little kerchief pattern that I wanted to do that's super quick. So I'm going to use that for that. And then I also ordered several hanks in Shelley, our worsted weight. And I've been kind of looking around trying to decide, okay, what pattern am I going to do? There were several patterns that were in the running. And I think I have made a decision finally. I think I'm going to do the King Salmon sweater by Caitlin Hunter. Yeah, I don't like, why do I want to wear fish? But I have to tell you, when this pattern first came out, I saw it and I really was drawn to it. I'm not a fisherman. Like, I fished when I was a kid a little bit, but I loved this pattern when I saw it. There was something about it visually that just drew my interest. Probably part of the reason was because so many of these sweaters are very high contrast colors. And she actually says in the pattern that you might want to really consider using a super high contrast. And flipping through the projects on Ravelry, that's mostly what I saw. So that could be one reason I was so drawn to it. But I'm thinking that this is going to be my sweater for my pecan or pecan colorway. I just have to figure out my contrast. I was going to do, just a single color sweater when I ordered this. And now, now of course I choose color work. So I've got to figure out my contrast color for it. I don't know. The easy thing to do would be to do Snow White. That would be very high contrast and easy to do. But I'm kind of trying to think a little bit out of the box. I'm almost thinking maybe a green color. I'm almost thinking maybe a color kind of like this with it. I don't know. Let's see. Something along those lines I think would pop nicely, or maybe an orange, or Kim just said, or burnt toffee, and that went through my mind as well. Absolutely, like that. Everdina suggests coral like salmon. That's not a bad idea either. That's a really good idea. So this color, there are okay, blue, Michelle is saying. Blue, Michelle's liking the blue. So I'll have to, play with some color on this. But yeah, I think it's going to be the King Salmon sweater. So I'm really excited. This is one of those cases that looking on Ravelry at the projects and sort of seeing people's comments is really helpful, because apparently I was trying to see if I could find, no great other picture in here that shows it. Several people suggested that the split for the sleeves was a little further down than they would have expected. Now, she does mention in the Ravelry notes for this, like on the details of the pattern before you purchase it, that the sizing, she really wants you to go ahead and give your sizing a lot of ease. And I suspect that's why, because it almost, in some of the pictures that I saw, it almost looked like, now I can't think of the word, and I know the word so well. Bat wing is one way to say it. It's right on the tip of my tongue, but sort of a sleeve where you've got a lot more give here, which, I like those because of the way my body is built. So, but if you look at this, you can see that the salmon motif goes quite a ways down the sleeve. And I suspect that in order to accommodate that, that's why the sleeve split is a little bit further down. Dolman sleeves, that is it. Thank you very much. I could not think of the word. Tell everybody I'm over 50. It just happens sometimes. But yeah, it almost, in some of the pictures that I saw, almost looked like a dolman sleeve, but it's not meant to be. But again, I think the reason for it is because that salmon motif goes, usually, it's like going to be up here and something will end, but this is a really deep yoke. And as a result, to keep that salmon there kind of in line with the others around the bodice, if you will, the chest, I think that's why that sleeve split is a bit further down. I could be completely wrong on that. I don't know. I certainly don't know Caitlin Hunter's mind when it comes to pattern design. But anyway, I digress. Now, she does have a King Salmon light pattern that is fingering weight, but I've got worsted. That's what I'm using. This calls for worsted weight, and I'm pretty excited about it. And now, thanks to you, I've got some other ideas for the sort of the other colors that I could use for a contrast. So poor Sherry and Terry, of course it'll be something probably they'll need to dye. They'll be like, no more. But that's kind of, that's what I think I'm going to do. Yay for worsted weight patterns. Exactly, because they knit up super fast, don't they? I could not agree with you more there. Worsted weight, even bulky weight, that's good. The yun was kind of, you held it with some other yarns that made it thicker. All of those knit up really fast. And I like to have things done lickety split. And we all know I don't succeed at that very often. So yay for worsted weight patterns indeed. So a couple other things I just want to mention shop related is that the mica bags are gone. They're going to be gone very soon. You don't want to miss out on those. Get ready for spring with some of those fun colors. I don't know if any of the cherry ones are left. That's the one that I have, and I love it. It is so cute, and I get compliments on it wherever I go. Birthday club for 2026. January club, if your birthday's in January, that is going away. Well, actually, that went away. Let's see. I'm thinking how that works here. But the 2026 birthday club, now is the time to order that. My brain just went on vacation for a moment there. But now is the time to order your 2026 birthday club. Set it and forget it. Get it ordered for yourself or for a fiber friend. That is a great thing to do. You get to choose your base, how many hanks you want. You get that in a special birthday colorway, a brand new colorway with a coordinating mini and birthday gifts that we provide to you. So that is a lot of fun to do. You want to go ahead and order that. Your newsletter has all the links for this right now, or you can just go on the website and search Birthday Club. And then we have a new Fiberside chat coming up next week. So Alicia Plummer, December 7th, and she's going to be talking about how all of our knits tell a story. And this is right up my alley. I'm a huge, huge believer in this. I think that everything we knit, there's a story behind it, whether it's what's going on in our lives at the time that we're knitting it, or the story of whomever we're knitting it for. And she's going to be talking about her take on that, the story of our knits. And I think that is just going to be absolutely incredible to listen to. So right now, you can go ahead down below in the show notes. Again, you can click to register, get it done today. So it's done. When you go on the Fiberside Chats Longmont Yarn Shop website to register, there is a drop down and it asks you for your local yarn store. Olive and 2U Studios is listed there because when you select us as your local yarn store, we actually get a financial boost out of that. We make a little money on that, and that helps to support us and helps us to be able to continue on and do what we do. So please select Olive and 2U Studios and know that your selection of that is really helpful to us. And it's always great because the Yarny U's show up and they know who the Yarny U's are. So I think that's wonderful and a testament to who you are and what you do in that Facebook group. I'm always so incredibly grateful for that support. So lots of fun things coming. I've been doing a couple of chats from my kitchen lately. Some of you have mentioned me doing recipes, and I heard you say you were interested in learning about some of the things I'm doing up here in terms of cooking. So I've got a plan for a rig in the kitchen. So I'll be able to start doing those videos, hopefully in the next few weeks, give you a little peek in there. And I'll tell you, in addition to baking all of our bread and stuff, we just got a new acquisition to the family this week. We purchased an Eschenfelder, I think I said that right, Eschenfelder, it's German, grain flaker. And our oat groats will be here this next week. So we will begin to flake our own oat groats for our own oatmeal. And you can customize it based on what thickness you like and all of that. So I'll share a little bit about that as time goes on if anybody's interested. And I love it. I love the knitting. I love the cooking. I love the baking. I love all the things happening here. Our lifestyle has definitely changed since we moved to Maine in a way that was very specific and very strategic and very intentional. So I look forward to sharing that with you and some new things coming in 2026. Lots is happening at Olive and 2U Studios. But most of all, your continued support is greatly appreciated today on Small Business Saturday and every day. So I see some of you placing orders. That's great. You're going to get your e-gift card. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for lifting us up. Thank you so much for sharing about what we do at Olive and 2U Studios. My name's Michelle. I'm here typically every single Saturday. I do invite you to go ahead and subscribe to the channel. If you haven't done so already, be sure to give us a thumbs up. And somebody asked, and I failed to share, I am wearing my Yoon sweater. This is my Yoon, and the link to it is down below as well. Have a great Saturday. Happy stitching, and I'll see you in the Yarny U's. Bye-bye, everybody.